The Second Amendment should not outweigh the life of any person, particularly a victim and survivor of domestic violence.
That's Ruth Glenn. She's a survivor of domestic violence and the president of Survivor Justice Action, a national survivor-led advocacy organization. Glenn, along with other advocates, is rallying for the U.S. Supreme Court to uphold a law that bars individuals subject to protection orders from owning guns.
Over 30 years ago, I was left for dead with 3 bullets entered my body, 2 in my head, 1 in my arm. He wanted his control back. He did this while he was under a protection order after another assault on me where he kidnapped me and held me at gunpoint for 4 hours. At the time, that protection order did not keep him from possessing a gun. I remember him calling me and telling me a protection order is a piece of paper and it cannot stop a bullet.
So what led to Glenn giving a speech in front of the Supreme Court? Let's back up. In 2020, a man named Zaki Rahimi violated a protection order that barred him from harassing his ex-girlfriend and owning firearms. After he was convicted of unlawful firearm possession in a federal district court, Rahimi appealed the decision. In early 2023, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit ruled in his favor, invalidating a 1994 law that prohibits individuals subject to domestic violence restraining orders from owning guns. Now, the Supreme Court has to decide whether to uphold the appeals court's decision.
If the court should rule in favor of Mr. Rahimi, we will be sending a message to domestic violence victims and survivors that we don't value their lives. Secondly, we'll be challenging those that serve domestic violence victims and survivors in ways that they are already underfunded, under-resourced.
In the U.S., more than half of domestic violence-related homicides are committed with firearms. Abusers with access to guns are 5 times more likely to kill their women victims. And abusers don't only use guns to kill.
One of the things that society in general is not aware enough about is the dynamics of domestic violence, which are power and control. There is no greater tool in that power and control that an abuser might have over a victim and survivor than a firearm. And by that I mean where you have the weapon just present all the time so that the victim knows that at any moment you can pull the trigger.
Research shows that when guns are taken from abusers, victims and survivors are safer. The rate of domestic violence-related homicides is at least 14% lower when guns are removed from abusers with protection orders. And states with more expansive laws have lower rates of domestic violence-related murders than those without similar laws.
We refuse to go back. Thanks to those bipartisan efforts 30 years ago, countless lives have been saved, including mine.
There appears to be a good chance the court will preserve those efforts. Oral arguments indicated that the Supreme Court seems inclined to uphold the law barring domestic abusers from owning guns. The justices are expected to make their final ruling in the coming months.